In a world of countless gaming options, there's an MMORPG that stands above the rest. Welcome to Albion Online, a game that continues to captivate and inspire gamers in 2023. Today we delve into the reasons why Albion is still worthy of your time 6 years after its first release. Firstly, the player-driven economy. In Albion, the economy is not an abstract concept, it's a living, breathing system shaped entirely by the players. Pure capitalism at its core. Central to this economy is the unique gold to silver system, which adds depth and immersion to the world. In Albion, there are two types of currency. There's silver, the in-game currency. Monsters drop this, you trade with other players for silver, you buy and sell items in silver for the market. However, then there's the premium currency, gold. You can buy gold using IRL money, or as some people say, swipe that card. The cool part about Albion is that you can swap silver for gold and vice versa. Does this mean that you can pay to win? Yes and no at the same time. You can definitely spend thousands of dollars or euros to get a fully leveled up character that would normally take weeks or months to upgrade. However, you'll still be killed in seconds by someone with higher skill than you. That said, can you swap in-game money into gold? Yes, and that's the beauty of it. You can use that method to buy premium with in-game money, so you can farm your way into premium membership of the game, allowing you to have further access to a lot of features. Furthermore, you can get yourself the cosmetics and vanity packs simply by grinding in the game. Now, let's delve into the black market. This is another piece that really captivates me. The entire loot system in Albion is based on what the players provide, meaning they created a black market in the company where you can sell your items that you craft or you find in the world. You put the items on the black market and the game buys them for you, giving you silver for your items, meaning that any player who's opening a chest will be getting these items that you've put on the black market, allowing for a crafting system, and this is absolutely incredible. When you're gathering resources, crafting your items, or simply engaging in PvP battles, the loot and spoils will gradually find its way back into the black market and find its way into the system. This allows the availability and prices of items change, fluctuating as supply and demand, and also alternating according to the meta. Talking about the economy, it's really interesting that every single city has its own market that is completely isolated from the other cities. This means that you can actually manipulate the market by buying materials from, let's say, Bridgewatch, which is one of the main cities, and go all the way to Fort Sterling, where you can sell items there for more than what you paid for them in Bridgewatch, and then buy another batch and do another caravan all the way across. And this is absolutely beautiful and leads me into the second reason why I love this game: the dynamic PvP and the full loot system. This is why most people play Albion. It is the PvP experience that is unlike any other I have experienced in an MMORPG. Your abilities and tactics are pushed to the limits as the game is relatively very well balanced. Yes, you still have those periods where carving swords and death givers get a little bit of extra push. You have guild warfare and territory warfare. Guilds in Albion Online can engage in large-scale warfare, usually in the hundreds of people, to conquer and control territories. Owning territories gives benefits such as resource collections, taxes, and access to specific dungeons in a safe manner. Guilds strategize their attacks, defend their territories, and forge alliances just to be able to control these valuable resources. Hence, alliances are also a thing where you have multiple guilds band together to fight other groups of guilds. You have castle sieges and outposts where people fight epic battles in the territories they control to defend or control new territories, and you get incredible loot for this. The sieging guild must breach the castle defenses where there are NPCs, there are walls, there are gates, and the defenders must do their best to hold back the wave. Outposts are smaller scale objectives that guilds can capture and control for additional benefits. Outposts are also central to faction warfare. Faction warfare is the major cities in the continent, where you have 6 major cities that are constantly fighting against each other. These allows players to join their factions and fight for control of territories. The more control of territories, you gain faction points, which then can be used to translate for resources or simply loot chests. These are incredible battles, hundreds. Then there are Hellgates. These are slightly outdated, but the idea of Hellgates is quite simple. You have the corrupted dungeons all the way up to 10 versus 10 Hellgates, where they are PvP zones with a PvE element in it. They're demonic creatures that you're fighting, but you can get invaded by rival teams, and oftentimes it ends up into a massive mosh pit. They offer incredible rewards, and oftentimes if you're doing the lethal zone PvP, you gain all the equipment of your enemy. Then above and beyond this, there's the Crystal League and the Arena PvP. The Crystal League, there are of course the non-lethal and the lethal, where you have the 5v5 all the way up to 20 versus 20, where you can engage in PvP that gives you rankings, and these rankings then give you results and loot. Then on top of all of this, there's the guild versus guild seasons and season points. Albion operates on a seasonal basis, lasts 90 days, and each season gives the guilds an opportunity to compete against each other. The guild with the highest amount of points gets to win the engagements and get to have a statue and their own specialized banner. You do this by engaging in most of the other content that we've discussed, as well as other things such as gathering, building, crafting, etc. There's also a reputation and crime system, but I do not feel that this has been fleshed out as much as it should have been, where people are flagged as being PvPers, player versus players, like PKers, player killers, versus people who don't kill players in an unfair manner or do not ambush other players, also known as ganking. That is why most people play this game, and I'm gonna tell you it's extremely addictive. They also recently introduced mists, which have incredibly changed the game in terms of allowing solo and duo play to become more prevalent in the game compared to the previous guild focus. So that is something that brought me back to the game personally. So if you're a player that does not have a large guild or that just likes playing on their own, mists are an incredible way of getting resources, getting a PvP out of your system, and above all else getting good loot, which is also amazing. To accommodate various playstyles, Albion implemented also a zone system. You have a various diverse room of zones. You have the blue zones, which are the safe zones. People can do duels, but you have to accept these duels, and oftentimes people just stay here till they've gotten the grasp of the game. Then you have yellow zones, where you can refine your PvP, kind of dip your toes into PvP. Most people do Zerg versus Zerg in yellow zones, where people do faction warfare. Player versus environment is also a big thing here, PvE. However, limited PvP combat that happens here is very low risk, as you do not lose your equipment, you just lose durability on the equipment. That said, then there are the high risk red and black zones. Red zones are kind of being phased out, as there's not much reward in there as much as it used to be in the past, since they introduced the new continent where you have black zones. This is where true adrenaline junkies seeking the ultimate PvP experience go. You have the red zones that still you need to flag yourself up, but in black zones it's completely full PvP. You can engage anyone and it's a lawless frontier. The potential for conflict is ever present. People gank 24/7 and it's a full loot system, meaning when you die you lose everything that you have on you with the exception of your silver and the non-tradable items. You can lose, but if you do win, you gain an incredible amount of high reward system due to the high risk you're envisioning, and hence every encounter is a skill, preparation, and risk needs to be calculated. Guild warfare, as we said, takes center stage in Albion. The massive guild battles are incredible, and if you do manage to join a decent guild that does a lot of guild warfare or a big alliance, you often see groups of 20, 30 people, 40 people running around fighting each other and proving their mettle on battle. Then the PvE content, something that I like and I cannot say I can ever get bored of. It is incredible. Player versus environment is always what drives me to play MMORPGs. The player versus player battles always steal the spotlight, but the PvE experiences in Albion also are captivating. The game provides a diverse range of content. You have undead, you have the Morgana forces, you have the bandits, you have the locals, the natives, the barbarians, and then you have the Avalonian roads, which we'll get to later, and all of them have their unique environments and creatures. You have solo dungeons. You have these dungeons which are essentially designed for a solo player. They lock themselves out after 90 seconds, allowing you to some degree of safety. They do not give as much rewards as they used to, but they are still quite a good way for you to learn a new weapon, a new skill, and move forward. Then moving forward, you have group dungeons, large group dungeons. You have open world bosses, which have like millions of XP. And the beautiful part about the PvE content is oftentimes you're competing for a boss with another group of players, so you might end up fighting each other while there's a massive boss throwing a giant rock at you and killing everyone, and it's just thrilling. And the bravery that you need to have to just risk your hard-earned gear, and oof, it is something. The open world is teeming with danger and opportunity. You have roaming enemies in the wilderness, but there is also valuable resources and hidden secrets. Random chests are scattered across the landscape, they spawn randomly, and they provide chance for incredible rewards. Also, you have a number of bosses that spawn, and these also provide some incredible amount of fame, which is the game experience, and of course, might and silver. Now, the Avalonian roads also are something amazing. They beckon the brave and the curious. They're mystical pathways connecting distant regions of Albion together. The world of Albion is massive, so they created this incredible system where you have random portals popping up in zones, allowing you to travel basically across the entire world in minutes. That said, they've also reduced the amount of people that can be in these roads at any point in time due to the pathways only having 7 maximum charges per any given time. That means you can go in there in relative safety, and if you do encounter someone, you can usually combat this rather well. But at the same time, organized groups of 3, 4, 5 people tend to stay hidden in these roads, waiting to gank enemies that are passing through, killing the bosses and mobs and the incredible treasures that spawn in these regions. Cooperative gameplay here is crucial, as you need to team up with fellow adventurers and be ready for anything. Those seeking the extra dose of challenge, as we said, the mists are the ethereal realms that just are incredible. They're ever-changing landscapes inhabited by incredible, powerful creatures and guarded by formidable bosses. The only players that live here are generally those who want to get a lot of loot. They're treacherous domains because generally people are going to try and kill you while you are taking rewards, but the rewards do commiserate the risk. With that said, the Realm of Albion also introduced Nightfall Abbeys. These can be found in the mists. They're essentially a dungeon found in the mists that are a testament to how incredible the game can be. It is limited to a number of players. You have a large map where you explore and can gain a lot of loot, at the same time meet players. So you have the player versus player, you have the player versus environment. It's quite controlled. You cannot run away on horses, so you need to be very careful. You need to be very strategic in your manner of moving around, and the legendary guardians that are here are freaking amazing. Lots of loot, lots of fame, and above all else, it's exhilarating. Now, the world is constantly evolving, and this is something that a lot of games suffer from. Updates. Albion Online gets an update every month, if not more than twice a month. And even then, these updates don't just include balance changes or whatever. They also include updates in terms of content. Every 3 months or so you get new content. For example, we got the mists, and then we got changes to the mists, and then we got the abbeys, and now we're looking forward to whatever's happening in September, which is the next dedicated massive change to the game. These are like mini updates, mini they're not even patches, they're mini expansions to the game that just give so much experiences that make people come back to the game over and over again. It never gets stale, and this is also why the community is so passionate. And I say passionate because there's a lot of toxicity in the game. There's a lot of people who are toxic, but that's in every multiplayer and internet-based environment. That said, there's also an incredible forum where people talk and share strategies. There are some incredible content creators, other than myself, of course, that have really good guides suggesting where and how to do things. And above all else, there's the guilds that take some time to find a good guild, but when you do, you have a new family. The developers actively engage with the community, do listen to feedback, constantly improving the game. It's obviously there's a limit of how much a developer can listen to the feedback of the community. When you have 300,000 voices, you can only do so much, and we do not know, of course, the entire roadmap of what they are envisioning. In my opinion, Albion Online continues to redefine what an MMORPG should be. It's a sandbox MMORPG with a player-driven economy, intense PvP battles, challenging player versus environment content, a living and thriving community, a breeding world that is constantly growing even though there are no quests in the game. It's an experience that I really highly recommend. It should not be missed. And above all else, it's free to play. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a comment down below and tell me what you think about Albion. I'll see you in the game. Bye bye.